Like, I should get a raise?
You're not known for your effort. Just saying.
Hey everyone, welcome to Was That in Good Taste? And most likely it was not. My name is Chandler. My name is Chandler Phillips, and I'm one of your hosts. But with me, as always,
Raise the roof. James Beery.
the one who makes the magic happen.
Wow.
We got a pretty fun episode for you today because we're talking about a new cocktail that we're trying, which is called the Black Widow, but also we put our own little variation spins on it just to have a little fun. And we're going to get into our pop punk and emo phases. Pop punk slash.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Fuck, I always do that.
Which one? Problem.
Oh, I'm on the wrong page. I wanted applause or something.
We're in our problematic phases.
Oh, that's actually right. Yeah, fuck yeah. The most problematic phase. The one between this phase and the phase where you like, comment, and subscribe. Wow.
Ooh. Threaded in seamlessly.
Wild Stallions.
Wow.
Like, comment, subscribe. Please.
So we got a really fun cocktail that I've never tried before, and we had to go out and get some new ingredients for it. It's called, like, the base cocktail that we got at the bar this week is called the Black Widow, and it's made with, what is it, like 1 part Chambord, which is a black raspberry liqueur, 1 part black Sambuca,
elderberry.
3/4 of a part of an orange liqueur, which that's where you and I kind of differed. We wanted to kind of blaze our own trails here, and then you just top it with ice and a little bit of soda to kind of get all that syrupy sweetness to open up.
We did it a bunch.
We tried it a couple times.
We tried our best, and then we mixed it up.
I just want to do a quick shout out to Toast Mag, which is where I got this recipe. So I just want to make sure, cite our sources.
Hashtag not sponsored. Please.
Yet.
Please sponsor us.
But yeah, Liquorland, from Toast Magazine. That's where we got this. So we didn't come up with the Black Widow, but my variation, which
Here we go.
I'm going to dub a Welcome to the Black Parade. So the recipe, as we have previously established, just says an orange liqueur, and I thought that was up to interpretation, creative interpretation. So for my cocktail,
I'm doing too much thinking there.
I did a little too little thinking, and I thought, what would look cool with black Sambuca? Because it's already got kind of like a deep purple, because the color comes from the elderberries, similar to like Empress Gin, that's got the purple pea shoot blossoms. It's got that deep violet. So I thought, what if I blend it with like blue curacao, because that's an orange liqueur and it's blue, and the blue and the purple and then the soda to kind of differentiate might make it look cool and like
might kind of add a little depth, something interesting,
something neat. It just kind of makes it look murky, but the blue does make it look cool. Like a blue drink looks cool. Just saying. Like if you're gonna go with an opaque drink, make it blue.
I wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't see, even in green. Me, I'd be called dead in red. I call it my bloody Valentine. You like, I do a little whiz, a little whiz thing. Because I'm in the whiz today. It's the same thing, only.
But it's not the same thing.
Instead of blue curacao, I used Aperol, a bitter, orange, and then
an Amaro, no less.
And then
I
hit it with a floater of mezcal on purpose.
And?
You looked at me like I was mad.
I thought you were batshit crazy.
I'm a mad scientist.
I thought this man was concocting concoctions over there that were uncocting complicated.
This adds just a little smoke. Just a little.
You want the smoke?
I love the smoke. Burnt
with
visions
the
of bodies
sambuca,
being
though?
burned.
Candlesticks in the dark. What's your interpretation of the cocktail overall? Like all together, just the black sambuca, the chambord.
Obviously,
The
we're
orange.
gonna do a little something obviously on that black sambuca because it's absolutely it needs its own little focus.
It does need it. Perhaps black sambuca may find its way to the tasting table.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I just thought that was bad funny. So here's the thing about sambuca.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not love it. Me, I think it's okay. Put a little bit in some coffee, do something like that. Thumbs up. It's kind of okay. This, nice, a little sweet. Things going on. I'm watching you try to use this tablet and you don't know what to do. It's fucking
I'm
hilarious.
figuring it out.
You can drag from the bottom, the little bar,
That's
little,
what it is.
and then it'll bring up
Oh,
things
okay.
there.
Cool, neat.
We need to have. I would love to have like a little segment, just like
Of me trying
Chandler
to
does
figure out-
technology.
God, it would.
You see all the fucking cameras zooming over your shoulder.
I'm
and
gonna
shit.
break something
I
if
know,
we do
right?
that. I'll just get too
Again.
frustrated.
Again.
Oh.
I think the elderberry is like super fucking cool. I think this is fun and it's good, and I would have just liked it with Contrail, but you just insisted that we try something different.
I wanted to push the boundary because Cointreau, it's cool, it's neat, it's luxury.
You're pushing the boundary of a cocktail that tastes like licorice, dark, really, because that Chambord tastes kind of like a dark, currenty kind. It's like really,
yeah, it's berry.
you know, like a deep berry, like with fucking. You took a drink that's already fucking pretty complex, and you're like, you know what? Sambuca needs? Sambuca needs something other than this nicely crafted cocktail. Sambuca needs something different.
It needs a little depth. It needs to just be different, okay? You wouldn't
It's different. You don't understand.
You wouldn't
me.
understand. It just needed to be like with its bangs kind of
So, but here's a question:
died at the end.
Is
like,
this cocktail nonconformist for a true fight against authority, or is it nonconformance just because it's cool with no substance?
I think
Is it just an edgy kid? What's going on?
I think the cocktail as itself is pretty anti-establishment. But I think when we try to recreate it with different orange liqueurs, that's when it gets a little too conformist.
Like, you're not even punk. You don't even like Nirvana. Excuse me. You're a girl. Why are you wearing a Megadeth shirt?
It's like, do you even know thrash metal?
Do you even know? I saw Ghost 5 times last year. Did you know that? Like, that's not even like a fucking pop punk band.
What is pop punk? Because I know I was there. I know I lived. So yeah, okay. We did the cocktail thing. I call you. Wait, you called yours. What was it?
My Bloody Valentine.
Your Bloody Valentine. Mine is
my love.
Welcome to the Black
Please
Parade.
Don't go. Take my. Okay.
Isn't that?
I know it's a different song, but I want to sing it.
Yeah.
I'm just singing songs.
You're thinking, or
No, I'm just
your
singing.
drink is.
No. I'm just singing different songs.
Oh wait, no. I was thinking Bullet for My Valentine.
No. Oh no.
The world is a vampire.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on. Isn't that the second Star Wars movie?
Is the world is a vampire?
Yes. I love you. That's Smashing Pumpkins.
That's not Smashing Pumpkins. Oh wait, no,
That's
I
a
get
bullet for butterfly wings.
Bullet for Oh, it's not Bullet for My Valentine. No,
The
wait.
world is a vampire.
That's Bullet with
the
butter.
chain.
I get
destroyer.
I get Bowling for Soup and Smashing Pumpkins confused.
So one time I got bowling for soup, and I'm sorry, I can't even. I'm sorry. I laughed at it before it even came out of my mouth.
Emptiness is loneliness, and loneliness is godliness, and godliness is dead. And
What? That's not it.
Oh no, yeah, I missed
Emptiness
the
and
one.
loneliness and loneliness is godliness and godliness is cleanness. God is empty.
It's
I love that
like
song.
me.
Okay. So first of all, I think about this, right? I don't want to get into the logistics of pop punk. Fuck that. Fuck, maybe one day. But this is about the feeling.
Fuck definitions, man.
This is about the feeling.
Uh-huh.
Man. This is about the feeling. And here's the thing, is that we're not the same age.
Yeah.
So we had different experiences.
We had different punk
when
phases.
for you is pop punk?
Pop punk for me.
Why was pop punk?
I was in a formative age when what we know today as the genre of pop punk was reaching its poppiness. At its most popular, most circulated on the radios.
What year was that?
Like 2006 to 2013.
2009.
2009.
I had fucking conversation. That year is so fucking important for so many people in some weird fucking way. And it feels like it feels like 2009 is the year where that shit just because pop punk was around for fucking ever, obviously. Pop punk was around since the early 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like exiting to grunge and shit, you go into the late 90s, you're like, you're getting some pop punk. But in the early 2000s, it was yeah, it's the early 2000s. So now all music is edgy, but it's popular. And it could be charitable and it could be real. It could be really edgy, but it's popular, man.
But grunge kind of paved the way for punk to start edging into the mainstream because it was kind of grunge was dingy, but it was still willing to sell out because, sometimes you're just trying to make your money, man.
Well, my liver gave out, fell out my anus. My wife, she left me. Got 16 kids, of course, 18 states, and the cops.
What's funny is grunge has roots in blues, and it extends into the pop punk era. But grunge itself is kind of the dad rock before it had kids. And so it would I'm going to work out in the garage and get a sweat on. And I love my wife, but man, it's really cool just hanging with the boys and throwing back beers, and women, they make me feel things.
I feel like it really, I'm not joking, just occurred to me that punk and pop punk are really absolutely the same thing, because
Disagree.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna tell you why. You're gonna be you're gonna find this shit wacky as fuck. But it's fucking true. Look at bands like fucking My Chemical Romance, heavily influenced by punk from the fucking 80s and 70s and shit like that. But as we gotta think about this, punk was people being anti-establishment, not only in their lyrics, but with their music.
Yeah.
Right? The words are a weapon, but the music is a weapon. Right? And they're expressing themselves via their music. And often, I don't give a shit what you say, whoever the fuck you are out there saying this that I'm perceiving onto you. They didn't play that good on purpose. They could be very good. They were awesome at playing the guitar, but they intentionally bucked a lot of the standards and things like that were acceptable, and
they were subverting
traditional
structures.
How do you subvert that when that becomes popular? How do you subvert that?
How do you subvert being bad at playing music or playing? So that's also the debate that comes into punk music, where it's are you bad at playing music, or are you just playing music badly?
I disagree, because there are bands that, I'm not going to name any because we're not talking about punk. Fuck you.
Fuck you, punk. What are you going to do about it?
What the fuck you going to do, man? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I'm sorry. It's punk. You go from
We're gonna alienate so much
I know,
of
right?
our audience.
Yeah, sure. Hey, listen, if there's somebody out there who's listening to "Was That in Good Taste?" and they're like, man, they had
Well, they said fuck punk, and that just didn't sit right with me.
It just didn't work with me because when I was younger, I was a punk. No, you weren't. Okay, Susan. Anyway, the whole fucking shit is that like when you get into pop punk, right? Green Day is a perfect example because Green Day, in their early career, a lot more noise, a lot more punk, a lot more anger, a lot more is very raw. Even going into like Dookie, you're getting the common things you're trying to see out of pop punk, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Blink-182 out there playing it and starting to get a lot of this energy up, right? You get all these bands playing punk music, but then they're like, man, I can express myself, but it can still be fun.
And it can still sound
Not that punk
good.
is not fun, and not that punk can't sound good and doesn't, but like, I mean, it's you want to show up to the party and be like, hey guys, I'm gonna put on hey,
Like, if you
would
think
you like
about-
to would you like to play Fuck the Government or all the poor people are unfortunately socioeconomically displaced by systemic racism? Like, that's fucking fun at a fucking party. That's, you know what I mean? Like, pop punk was people going into college, taking their punk ideals and like riffing on it and
Yeah.
evolving into like their love lives and shit.
People took the distortion aspect and the because but there's also so much that's borrowed from rock itself, and I think one of the big things that we can look at the difference between like how punk evolved into pop punk, but like there's also, I think one of the main things is the accent itself of pop punk, and I noticed this
Of
is
some pop punk.
of a good amount
More than is comfortable.
of pop punk artists kind of emulate the Midwestern REM accent.
Now, we've had this discussion off camera,
Yeah.
and here's the thing. And you were like, why?
Why?
Because lots of the people in those bands were from the Midwest.
Well,
And
I
a
mean,
lot of
that
the
part
and a
makes
lot of the
sense.
people and a lot of the bands that got popular pretty early or in certain scenes were from the Midwest, and they influenced people.
But even before that, if you look at like, I'm gonna sing a
Hey
line.
there, I know it's hard to feel.
Like even Green Day, who's English,
Oh yeah,
they're from England.
hit me with one.
Do you have the time?
Whoa! Can I say something? That's
Huh?
too good, and we're gonna get content matched.
Oh no!
So I'm sorry. You gotta do it worse. I'm sorry.
But I have to do it in accent because then
No, do it in accent and in context, but
time, wine, everything all at once.
how is that actually better? I'm sorry. Go back to what you were doing before.
But then you go to like REM and it's like in the corner, and it's like you hit the same kind of vowel, like
It's a long. You know what?
you
You're
just
right.
really make a meal of every vowel opportunity.
Hit me
you
with
have.
another song.
Please tell me why I'm sleeping with the lights on at night. Something in
lyrics.
sometimes.
You know, you're right. And
And then you go to like the fuck, what is it? I've got my mind, I've got my orange crush. Like that's the same as like, oh, well, imagine as I'm pacing the pews at a church corridor. In a church corridor.
And I can't help but to hear. No, that's first of all, it's not fair to Brendan Urie, that fucking piece of shit. Fuck. Anyway,
What'd Brendan Urie do?
something.
You're
I'm just covering
you're
my
just gonna
bases.
throw shade
No,
and not.
I might know stuff, but that's not what this is about. But just in case, because I'm a little stoned, so I don't remember. But he's a piece of shit.
I'm gonna
I love this.
rewind to when you. So like, I experienced the blow up of pop punk into the mainstream media, and a lot of my peers were very involved in the pop punk scene and the scene and the emo scene. But I feel like just the way my emotional state at any given or at the time of pop punk, granted I was in my emo phase, it wasn't with emo music or it wasn't with pop punk music, it was other depressing artists just in different genres. And so I feel like I missed the major pop punk wave, and I didn't really hit like the appreciation for what we know as pop punk until like a solid 6 to 8 years after its popularity.
I was almost too old.
You were almost, well,
But it just so happened that like in my circle, it hit really hard.
oh.
So I love Say Anything and Taking Back Sunday. And if you know if there's a pop punk song from that era, you know, some
Radio like
what the fuck is that that fucking song damn it, that about being a man, damn it, you
Miss Murder by AFI.
yes,
Is that the one about being a man?
totally. That's it's the one about beating the girlfriend and then like you wish you like you feel like you're a man. Do you feel like a man? A red jumpsuit apparatus.
Oh yeah.
You put her around. Yeah, come on.
Feel better now.
When she falls to the
ground.
you hear it. It's
man when you push.
You know,
her
like,
around.
come on, man.
But it's like
It's just like also low key kind of hard. You're like fucking sitting in the Dunkin' Donuts playing fucking Yu-Gi-Oh on 26th Street, around the corner from what used to be Neutral Grounds, with an original DDS in your hand, and it comes on the radio. You're just like fucking bopping your head and shit, playing fucking Brain Age. And you're like fucking
you're
playing.
just like,
you're
fuck
like,
yeah,
you're like, yeah, dude, you feel like it. You know, you're like people. You're like fucking eating a donut, just like walking down the street. Like, you're your friends, just like, yeah, man. Do you feel like a man when you beat her around? Do you feel like a man?
Do you feel like a man? Do you feel it, Mr. Krabs? Do you feel it, Mr. Krabs? Do you feel like a man? It's tough to determine what is pop punk, because I feel like some artists that may or may not be pop punk just kind of saunter into the genre.
Oh, name.
Fucking The Offspring, because I think The Offspring is typically just like not, it's alt metal. I think would be the general term for like what they do, because it's not pop punk, but it does have a fuck the system vibe. It's punk enough. I don't know if it's pop enough. What are they?
From the ultimate source,
Wikipedia?
Wikipedia.com, The Offspring is an American punk rock band from Garden Grove, California. Now, this is the thing that I did know. It was formed in 1984. Like a lot of the bands that people like really like that blew up pop punk, or people considered to like be kind of mainstream, didn't disappear overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Green Day was, you know, like Linkin Park, as Hybrid Theory was doing their little not good thing probably in high school. You know what I mean? These bands have been around forever. And that it's a rock band. It says it's a punk rock band. That's what Wikipedia says, and so then that's correct.
So I think we're the borderline.
Yeah. That's punk rock.
Whereas the borderline
That's
between
pop rock.
between grunge and other rocks is where it's something where you do that again.
Yeah.
Then you have yeah, and that's the yeahs are different.
that grunge?
Yeah.
What do you think grunge is?
Yeah.
Is that grunge?
Grunge is, well, I mean, Pearl Jam is like quintessential grunge, right?
I guess. I never fucking thought about it before.
Or you have,
I'm too punk rock.
because like
I'm too pop punk rock.
you're
Come
too
on.
pop punk.
I never sat around. Oh my god, thinking about grunge.
Grunge. Well, because you have
Linkin Park only.
guy grunge is yeah, and then girl grunge is yeah, like zombies, like Cranberry, like zombie.
Oh, it's so weird that I'm not trying to mock her. I love that shit. That's just great.
No,
In your head.
in Alanis Morissette, grunge.
Fucking. If not, just it's the vibe.
Pop grunge.
Pop grunge.
Pop grunge punk.
There's there's somebody out there like, oh my god, that's
How
actually
dare.
that's indie soul pop influenced by I don't give a shit.
That's
really punk? Not giving a shit about what label your music is. You know that's as punk? Probably kind of like being a bigot.
Really? Is that
Not in punk. In the
No.
bands.
Well, I think you described it earlier pretty well off microphone.
If only you were there.
If only you could have heard this conversation.
It was
He put it
fucking
so-
great.
He's so eloquent,
so
which just
fucking funny.
He's so well spoken.
I'm fucking dead.
No, you had mentioned that punk is more of an overarching aesthetic kind of meta genre that you put over various other types
But
of.
it is important that punk culture is only punk culture associated with punk rock. It's not separate from punk rock, in which like there was music that was emo, but you didn't have to listen to emo music to be emo.
No.
You can't be punk without punk rock.
I'm going to throw this at you. Kid Cudi, emo?
Yes. Oh, so you want to talk about the fucking influence of the like mid 90s to early 2000s, like X? Come on.
XXX?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Juice
he's-
WRLD, all these people, even fucking people like that are like around, like fucking Lil Uzi Vert. All these people
Are you meaning to tell me that the Suicide Boys are in fact in their feelings and emotional?
Are you telling me that? Yeah, just like 'cause that they were fucking sitting there, and I know that obviously like hip hop has again and completely dominated pop culture when it comes to music. There was a period where it was like when 2013 hit, and you were like, oh, I'm not really hearing that much rock on the radio anymore. Because before, like 3 years before, that shit was heavy. It was everywhere.
Everywhere was rock.
It was the pop culture we think. Because there's somebody out there who's like, I was listening to a band here or artist here that's pretty good, but it's just a different genre. I don't know. Death Cab for Cutie or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
They were just listening to something else.
I mean, you can be listening to something else, but you aren't the mainstream. So, like, put that in your pipe and smoke.
Put that in your smoke and pipe it.
I like that. Would you say, okay, so I think I was going to pose it as a question, but now I'm just going to pose it as an assertion. I think early Tyler, the Creator, early Odd Future, emo music.
I mean, I don't want to get into what punk is, but that's what punk is. People
Kill
punk rock
kill people, burn shit, fuck school. That's pretty punk.
while making it in your basement, doing it by yourself with your friends.
Yep.
And I think inherently one part of punk rock I think is important is also like being a good person, because I think punk culture really is kind of a lot about that, even though, I mean,
Being a good person by rejecting the structures of society that encourage you to be selfish.
which is why I never understood why people didn't like pop punk. Because and I know it doesn't seem like it, but when you put that cool vibe, that energy out there. You know, the like, I don't want to be just like you.
Just like you.
The you know, you want to hang out with your friends, and you know, you're sad, and I'm just a kid. And what's the other one? Is like that other one by Simple Plan about the
'Cause
dad.
I'm in too deep.
What's the one about what about the father? The one about
Simple Plan?
yeah, that was Simple Plan. The something about their dad.
Oh,
Or is it their dad not loving them or some shit? Like, you know, like
Daddy wasn't there.
like that shit is like, you know, and fucking Scotty doesn't know. I know it's not a real song, but
No. Or what's new, Scooby Doo? I'm coming after
you.
you. Gonna solve that mystery.
Now,
I hear you, Scooby Doo.
I think that like the aesthetic, the like that vibe, and also like the fuck it, do it yourself vibe, like hip hop, early hip hop, that shit's punk rock as fuck, you know.
Oh yeah.
But when it stops becoming
it's punk. It's not punk rock.
that's oh damn.
But it is punk.
But what's the pop part? Where does pop
becomes
where does pop meet punk?
Pop meets punk when Bowling for Soup does the opening for Phineas and Ferb, and Good Charlotte do the opening for Scooby Doo, and it becomes integrated into, because we also have to give credit where credit's due. Pop punk wouldn't be what it is without ska.
I mean, God, this is like kind of a conversation. Because,
Listen here,
like,
ska.
modern ska,
I'm here for you.
modern ska, or the last two waves of ska are pop punk adjacent kind of things.
Yeah.
Where ska is reggae, and it's
Well, wait.
and
Wait.
in the assertion
Reggae is ska.
okay, reggae is ska.
Ska existed before reggae, and
You're right. Oh my God, here we fucking go.
I did a report about this in a world.
We're gonna put on
in
the
a world
accent?
music. No.
You want to see the Bob Marley movie? Bob Marley, One Love.
One Love.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
What about the sequel, No Woman, No Cry?
How about the other one, not getting a simple treatment that's common to oops, you're dead. I'm sorry, Bob Marley. You know, there's gonna be somebody so fucking mad at me. But here's the thing. He's dead and he can't hear me. So I'm sorry. I don't know what you. I'm not gonna kill him more. Like if you say like I'm not even being mean about him. You know he would love punk rock. He would love pop punk rock. He would love Say Anything and Simple Plan and Blink-182 and Taking Back Sunday and
Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy.
What about All American Rejects? Did you like All American Rejects?
My dirty little secret?
Dirty little secret.
Who wants to know? In this fucking same place that we are. I remember fucking seeing that video with all the like signs and shit and just being like,
You're
I
like,
had
I
a
feel
secret.
it. I got a secret.
I had a secret. It wasn't a big one, but it was like a little teeny secret.
I remember getting home from school, flipping on MTV, and being like, all right, I'm going to catch some of these music videos, figure out what the kids like these days when I'm in like 7th grade. And I see like, when all you gotta keep is strong, move along like I know you to. And then the Bionicles movie came out.
Oh my God.
And All American Rejects did a song for the Bionicles movie. That shit shredded, dude.
Fuck. That's how you know there's like a little bit of age difference there. Come on.
Just to make it through. Move along.
But Brand New.
Wow, I don't know what that one is.
You don't know Brand New, the group? Brand New?
Uh-uh.
Like Sweet Transit Gloria? I'm not going to sing it.
Why not? I've sang all my songs.
Because I don't remember. Hey there. This is not them.
Hey,
I
now.
know it's hard to feel. Oh, Motion City soundtrack.
Oh, you've told me
Tell
about
me
that.
that you're all right. Like, let's get fucked up and die. I'm speaking figuratively, of course. Damn it, I love. I sucks that we can't play music, but it's good because we would play it and we would just be sitting
We'd
here.
just be vibing.
We would
the
just
other-
like sitting here the whole
remember-
time.
Wait, remember this
I
one?
was like,
though?
oh my god, this is like so fucking good. Dance, dance.
We're falling apart.
I'm gonna tell you.
halftime.
So like, here's the thing
Dance.
about the power of pop punk, is that like Fall Out Boy. Like I remember, I was like, I came home one day, or like I woke up. My mother was cleaning, and she was listening to this fucking song, Dance Dance.
Fall Out Boy cauterized a genre, whereas like Blink 182 might have defined it. Fall Out Boy said like all the other things that like it was a benchmark in like what pop punk was. And I remember there were just a bunch of kind of offshoots after the major Fall Out Boy fanaticism.
Well, because there's different types. Because here's the thing, because at the time, like, I was definitely older than you. Like my girlfriend liked My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy, and I didn't. I liked the pop punk bands that occasionally got a little heavy.
Oh.
And might throw what sounds like a breakdown on the record, but in person is just like half a second. Like there's something pop punk just snuck its way into pop culture through movies in a way that like no other genre. Through the college frat boy,
the
comedies,
American Pie,
the American
like coming of
Pies.
age teenage stuff.
Because these bands, a lot of them were bands were like, and especially like after like the Satanic Panic and then the stuff with video games in the 90s, you're getting like into the early 2000s, and there's some like old fuck out there who's like remembering pop punk in the 90s. Guess what? Wasn't old enough. So I don't know about that. I don't know what you want from me.
Well, no, but it's interesting because you can't really say pop punk in the like early 90s at least, because the punk wasn't pop.
It's true.
In order for there to be pop punk, both the pop has to be pop and the punk has to be punk.
And
the pop.
some people, I think you don't have pop punk without Nirvana, because
no.
I know that a lot of people.
But that's what I mean by like both ska and grunge paved the way for punk to become pop punk. Because you look at like Sublime too, and like even Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, and like that kind of late 90s, early 2000s, where like ska was
Some
just
of
kind
that
of
stuff is a fucking abomination to what ska is. It's like a
Yeah.
different genre.
no, it's a bastardization.
It is, and I'm not even mad at it because I like a lot of it. But it's like somebody took it through like a lens and made it pop punk.
But I also kind of like as a standalone, if you don't consider like the origins of ska as like the music of a repressed peoples of Jamaica, and like
Who cares about them?
like if you skip past like first and
The most
and
important
second
stuff.
wave, and like if you forget about like who actually defined the genre, and you just kind of skip ahead to when like white dudes in suits and pinstripes and Vans got to do it, and it's just standalone there, it's pretty good. Like I like the fusion of just a fun upbeat guitar with some brass. Like
I love it. Yeah.
if
Yeah,
you
of
were to
course.
describe ska to me, unrelated to the historical context of ska,
Most important genre in my life.
was ska.
One of the most important genres. Matt X is during ska bands.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you know how to ska down?
of course.
Do you know how
Shout out to What's Your Problem, Brian? R.I.P. the band. Fucking 15 years ago. Dave Rose, Anita Kobe, and Adam Flatchler from the Bronx Underground, fucking killing it. Like going on tour like long before I ever saw them. And then when I first met Kirsten, who
I've met?
I met them at the Bronx Underground at What's Your Problem, Brian show.
Oh, doing ska,
And
hitting a
They
two-step?
were fucking great. And it's like super fun and it's bubbly. And I don't know, calling it ska is like weird, but I guess whatever. I don't know shit about music. Somebody out there is like, I'm a music historian. I don't know if you know this, but actually ska comes from the Norwegian ska.
It's actually Slavic,
God,
and it's
fuck.
supposed to be called Slav.
I didn't do an accent or anything, but did I do a racism towards like?
I don't know. It looked like you just kind of choked on your words, so we can just say you fumbled at the 1 yard line.
Whoops. Didn't mean to do that.
So when I was experiencing pop punk around me, I wasn't identifying with the music, even though I was a coming of age teen who was deep in my feelings. But instead, I found that the things that resonated with me were in different genres, whether it was a little bit more hard rock, or I guess like punk rock with like System of a Down or Rage Against the Machine, which System of a Down we kind of talked about is even more like an Armenian folk heavy metal.
It's like heavy metal. It's hard rock because they do a lot of that. They're not doing
punk. But they are anti-establishment, and so there you go. But I also found a lot of solace in Kid Cudi and doing some like deep digging on some New York underground hip hop, and that is where, like, as a youngin in high school, I was like, hey, this Mos Def guy is pretty good.
I love that. That's pretty funny. You thought you discovered Mos Def.
I thought I discovered Mos Def. And like I was listening to Black Star in like my mom's car or something, and my buddy got in and he's like, who is this? This sounds like so like unproduced. And I'm like, they're really good. They're gonna be something one day.
You're like, you don't know who this is. This is a new and upstarting
You probably don't know about them.
person. I know it's 2011, but her name is Beyonce.
This is Erika Badu or something like that.
It's like fucking, like God. It's like it's Andre 2566.
Give it a little. He's still aging.
He's almost there. I feel
But truly, I was like, man, this group, The Roots, they're gonna be something.
Hold on?
But this was also before Fallon had his show.
Did you discover this? Did you discover Wu-Tang like that? Like when you first heard Wu-Tang,
No.
you were like, this is great. Man, more people should do this.
I knew about Wu-Tang before I heard about
Oh,
Wu-Tang.
in the womb, right?
Like I was
Your fucking mother was just like fucking playing RZA samples just like over her fucking stomach.
Yeah. I was in they did Baby Mozart, they did Parliament Funkadelic, and then they did the 36 Chambers. And that's how I became and they also did ABBA. And that is how I became the man that sits before you today.
What ABBA?
Best of.
Oh my fucking God. That's like me and my best of. That's like me and my best of The Cure. It's like The Cure Essentials. It's not my fault. It's the best songs.
The Cure Essentials. We need to get that to a vaccine lab.
Wow. Hold on. Quick question. Megadeth? Is Megadeth pop punk? Now you're going to say to yourself, what? People who know Megadeth know the history of Megadeth. I'm not going to explain it again because I'm lazy. And I feel like Megadeth. I'm not going to tell you. I want to know your opinion.
Megadeth. Dio. Right? Who was it? Because
Mustaine.
It was what?
Dave Mustaine.
Dave
Remember, because he
Mustaine.
came from Metallica.
Oh, that's
There
what it
was
was.
the split. And
Yeah.
then he like made a band that's like better than Metallica, but like doesn't, I don't know. That's how I feel anyway.
Megadeth is
Because he's in his feelings. He's emo. That's why. The whole point is he's emo.
Megadeth is punk heavy metal.
50 years later, he's like still mad that he got kicked out of fucking Metallica. He's like just mad. His whole career is just like
So,
how mad he is.
Holding a grudge, punk. Blaming yourself for holding the grudge, emo.
Ooh.
So if the songs and the vibe were, because there's a part of like pop, there's an aspect of pump pop that's almost a
Pop.
pop.
I love it.
Pop Pomp that
But in a good way, I love it.
there's a martyrdom of the singer, or I guess Pete Wentz in Fall Out Boy's case. Because like there's almost like a I'm bleeding from my heart, but for you, and that's why I never I never vibed with it at the time because I was just like, man, these guys are in their feelings too much. Like
You're just like sitting there listening to somebody just like singing a song about like being a piece of shit.
yeah,
This boy's got whoa. You're like, oh,
okay.
all the words in his mouth, the CD worth the pouring out. Damn, I don't remember all the words right now. Bound it together to make it. It's like fucking random words.
And I'm like, no, I want you. I don't want you to sing about like how you're feeling sorry for yourself. I want you to sing about how you use alcohol and medications to.
You want an acoustic track. You just need one on every album.
You do need an acoustic.
You know, maybe with a little hip hop sometimes.
A hip hop acoustic,
you know, or like spoken word. Admit it.
You didn't ever really know that I was the one who was standing behind you at the bar when you were making out with that guy.
Despite your soon-to-be human appearance and vaguely leftist doctrinal beliefs, you know nothing about artist sex that you couldn't read in any trendy New York fashion. I'm drunk. Underground magazine. Prototypical nonconformist, you are a vacuous soldier of the Thrift Store Gestapo. You adhere to a set of standards and tastes that appear to be determined by an unseen panel of hipster judges. Bullshit! Giving the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Content ingoing and outgoing trends. Hello, baby. So postmodern.
Do you want syntax and sentence structure in a song? You don't get that.
You know, always, and then at the end, there's like a whole little like acoustic thing, you know.
Yeah, the breakdown.
Yeah, you gotta get because like it's all, you know.
So in that, this also popped into my head. In that time, one of the other bands that was big in my playlist was Cake. And have you ever listened to...
I think I know one song.
You would know if you heard like their number one song. You'd be like, I know this song.
I think I know. What is the song?
She's Going the Distance. She's going the distance. She's going for speed. He's all alone in a time of need.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Because he's racing and pacing and plotting the course and driving and riding on his horse.
You ever notice that you can confuse rock bands for pop, punk, or like any band, but you never hear anybody think like, man, NSYNC, like such a punk band.
They just subverted so much. Because just when you think a guy would stick around, you know what they say?
Bye. Oh, fuck you, God. Oh, God. Oh, no.
But like Cake, they had that. You would also know Short Skirt and a Long Jacket. And it's just...
What is happening with
I
these?
want a girl with a short skirt and a long...
I like how this is like just like random bands from like a similar time. This is like name any band. Is the Bloodhound Gang fucking pop punk?
Yes.
Why? How? Baby, you and me ain't nothing but mammals.
So let's do it like we do on the Discover. Because there's an intentionality that doesn't care about whether or not it's good. And so there's a film of irony over the entire thing that says punk. And because the song was popular, therefore it is pop punk.
What are some songs? This is a good one. What are some songs that are pop punk that you wouldn't expect to be pop punk?
Jesus Walks by Kanye.
Oh my!
Because the entire song is like, oh, you think if I make a song about God, my records won't get played? Huh? That's pop punk.
You know what's so funny is like, yes, like literally I've heard that line and I'm like, damn, wow. That from pop punker to bootlicker.
Right? Like, man, boy, the times have changed.
Doesn't that seem like to be the trajectory? Is like you're like kind of punk, and then you're like pop, and then you lick boots.
Once you get punk, then you go pop, and then you just can't stop. Because do you think that Knocking on Heaven's Door is a pop punk song?
No. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
Knock, knock, knocking
No,
on
that's like
heaven's
what? That's like a fucking.
door.
That's like a ballady kind of. What are you fucking talking about?
Pop punk can be ballads.
No, but this is like not that. This is like
Okay.
that's like hard rock. That's like
What do you think? What do you think is a song that like shouldn't like it like categorically you wouldn't hear it on a pop punk playlist, but feeling, aesthetic, vibe, all of it.
those hips, those thighs. Like when you look at me, baby. I feel like listen, Ja Rule being that short, running that mouth that way, and being that soft.
That's pretty pop
That's
punk.
fucking. You know, that's
You know what's the opposite of pop punk?
punk pop.
Well, I'll give you a song, but yes, I mean,
I'm saying, come on.
you are technically correct.
Yes.
Who Run the World? Girls who run the world. Girls who run the world. That is explicitly anti-punk pop.
Is it what? How?
It is pro-establishment.
Because the girls run the world?
The girls run the world, and it is pro-women running the world. It is pro-establishment.
No. It's the women running the world instead of the men running the world.
But there's an establishment to run said world, and therefore it is pro-establishment.
Oh my God. Do you think that the girls who run the world came from the Rhythm Nation?
Yeah. That's...
I'm sorry, Janet Jackson. I'm sorry. I feel like some of this...
10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fuck. I feel like I think that entire time, that entire era, the way that I feel about that music is still nostalgic, and I understand and definitely why it's kind of faded into obscurity. Not because not because it's bad, but I think that in a pop sense, that kind of rock just is not hitting. You know, instead,
I
the
think
new people are influenced by that are doing hip hop and other stuff.
There's not a lot of new rock or new aspects of punk really being made, it seems like, or at least in my suggested stuff lately.
Because there's all the young black girls starting punk bands, which is like a huge thing right now.
Is that?
It's like fucking huge. It's like all over TikTok. It's like, you know, it's like a thing. It's like a thing. People are trying to bring it back.
But I've been just seeing a lot of people getting back into folk music, or people getting into like the lo-fi rap, or like the things that seem like they're trending on the larger scale, not just what you're getting recommended.
What you're missing.
What am I missing?
Is this is fucking weird. It makes me feel old as shit. There's like a fucking swath of Gen Zers who like the emo aesthetic and style in the pop punk era, and like are bringing back the style and aesthetic, and are like listening to, but also it wasn't that long ago, but also it was 15 years ago.
So I thought about this recently, and you tend to see these trends that are reiterated, and they kind of have their spikes and their pops up in our timeline, right? So as we know, time or history repeats itself, right? But our progress has continued, is exponentially growing. Like, we are progressing civilization at forward at an exponential rate. And so at a certain time, if things are repeating themselves exponentially quicker, you're gonna have just a collapsing,
holy shit,
not a collapsing, but like just an overlapping of aesthetics and times and genres.
So interesting, because I'm always hooked on the fact that like my mother didn't grow up with the media that her father did, but like literally if I had a kid today, they would grow up with the same media I did.
They would at least they would be able to know about it,
you know,
and they may have a phase where they're in their emo phase, and it's
Quick.
completely informed by all the same shit that you had in your emo phase.
It wasn't even that fucking long ago. That shit's 15 years.
What was your emo? Tell us. I talked about my emo phase. What was your emo phase?
It was distinct and unique, and most of it's kept to myself. But what I will say is,
I will talk about it by saying as little about it as
what
possible.
I will say is that because I was actually just like 3 years older than like what was like real popping like 2005, 2006, 2007, right? But I was in the same age range that it was in my social groups. So I wasn't a 16-year-old, but I was an 18-year-old.
You were actually in the age group of people who had the like,
I was going to concerts,
the freedom to enjoy it. Whereas like when I was hearing it, I was like, I remember distinctly watching a video for a Little Less 16 Candles, a little more Touch Me on MTV, going like, oh, vampires, kind of hot.
I was able to, listen, we used to go to my house and play Slipknot's Birth of the Maggots. This is the year where hope fails you, where the test of different experience, whatever. We would like mosh in my house, and we were like moshing outside and like listening to music. No,
oh, okay.
I was in the Bronx.
Oh, right.
We were like moshing and stuff, and like doing all that, and like going to concerts, and like, I was poor as fuck, so I wasn't wearing the clothes. I didn't have the clothes, and I couldn't afford it. But like, I don't know, I had the friends. I was like, and then because I'm from the Bronx, everyone was Black and Hispanic, and they were all like, if you look at the MySpace people, like was it Melissa from Millionaires, things like that, like these blonde haired women, and like the men, the white men with like the black hair. It was like the Mexican version of that, the Caribbean version of that, just like kind of like isolated on what we called the island, which was
which was technically the only borough that is connected to mainland New York.
I know, right? It's like a little
How
thing
ironic is that?
floating and like not in the middle of the street. It's like a bus stop on it. It's like it's like 4 benches on it, and it's like 15 feet tall. So we used to, it's like it was like 4 benches and kind of far. So like cars can go up that one-way street, and then the main street was back there. It's like 5 lanes, so it's like weird. And we used to sit there and like hang out in big groups, and it wasn't about the music, but it also was about the music.
Because the music was like
but we listened to different stuff, but it was all
a thing that
kind of
unified.
the same thing, 100%. Because even if I was like, oh, I don't like Fall Out Boy because I'm too metal, we all knew the songs, we all knew the history, we were all on MySpace, Social media blew up that era, and people always talk about like the emo thing, but pop punk, like the music of pop punk, drew in a lot of people.
Yeah.
And because it was so popular and so punky, all the ancillary genres that aren't pop punk kind of get confused for it.
It's just, if you were a genre in that era and you were pop enough, you kind of got just folded into it.
Like, how is it pop punk to be in a band where you're like, that's not pop punk. I mean, pop punk doesn't scream really. Pop punk is not hardcore metal screaming. People think that those bands are pop punk, but they're like fucking hardcore bands. But they're hardcore bands that are influenced by the pop culture of the time.
Hardcore what? Because they're not hardcore rock. They're not hardcore rap. They're not hardcore country.
And you know what?
They're hardcore pop punk.
That's fucking.
So that's just the lens over. It is the hardcore version of a pop, or like a pop music version of punk. So it's just, how many layers can you peel away until you get to just anti-establishment? Because that's at the heart of punk.
My MySpace username was XX Pi X Core XX.
That's so cringe.
Star B period I period no B period N period B. Bipolar is the new black. The name of our band. Tell me that's not a fucking cool name.
That is a pretty cool name, though.
That's
like
a fucking cool name. And there is no fucking Bipolar is the new black. There is none. There should be one. Especially now. You get a bunch of bipolar people together. You get somebody with like PTSD.
Okay. So how about we just round up a group of bipolar people? We keep them in a dark room.
Write songs for me.
We throw instruments at them. And we only feed them once they've written a song.
You're an evil person.
I mean, I would never do this in America. Jeez, I'm not a criminal. Do you think the cocktail that we had matched the theme?
Here's the thing. When we do that, it's always so interesting because it's like, if you were at a pop punk show, I wasn't drinking anything else. I had no money and I was too young. And then I was old enough and I didn't have no money. So I don't know. But then it's like beers. And it's like, if it was like what you're drinking at a pop punk show, it's not this.
Oh, no.
But like the fun of it, I love the theatrics of a drink.
If you were
because that's what pop punk and the whole emo thing was about.
Yeah.
In not a bad
aesthetic,
way. It's not.
But it's also about like it tastes interesting, but also kind of deep.
The aesthetic, people judge it on the aesthetic.
It's true.
That doesn't mean it's not deep.
Doesn't mean
it's not real. Doesn't mean it's not true.
It's not spitting the realness. That reminds me of one more point, and then we're gonna wrap up.
I love this.
Is that
I didn't mean to wear this shirt. It's Alaskan Forest Core. It's like a metal
is
band.
that
I wrestled the bear once.
is that a song or is that a claim?
That's the band.
Oh, okay. That's pretty dope.
I'm sorry, continue.
I didn't
That's really
have...
punk rock. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm fucking with you.
Son of a bitch.
I'm sorry.
I didn't experience my appreciation for punk rock until I had at least a few years removed from the punk rock era. And now, when you and I will go back and listen to the punk rock stuff, it's such a fun vibe. And I think that's what this cocktail encapsulated, was the fun, kind of nostalgic, familiar, but also like dingy. Like, it's hard to swallow because it reminds you of a time when you were so turbulent.
Oh fuck! You're trying to sweep me away here, huh?
I'm trying to get you going.
God, I feel touched.
When do you think you kind of had the fullest realization that you appreciate the genre for what it is, and that you don't necessarily need to put labels on what pop punk is or isn't, but the fact that if anything wants to claim being pop punk and it talks in a certain accent and it sings like you didn't have it and like that kind of thing?
I had a really good friend, and we met actually at the Bronx Underground at the concert, and we spent a lot of time together. And I realized, like, many years later, we were listening to like Daily's Gone Wrong, which was like a ska core band.
Ska core,
you know, and
love the sound of that.
I remember the Used was like gonna be out, and I remember this was like, I don't know, like 2014, but I remembered only a few years before, when I went to go see her, I was listening to the Used, and I'd had a nostalgic feeling.
Yep.
It wasn't a good moment because I was listening to an iPod, and then these guys were like gonna rob me, but I saw it, and I was like, it was like middle of the day, and I saw them like doing a little thing, and I was like, I'm going in the store, and I just went in the store, and they didn't rob me.
Nice.
But like, it's a memory. It's a memory of me leaving my house, not having any money, walking for miles. I used to always walk for miles and miles and miles.
Would you walk like 500 miles?
You walk 500 miles. I would.
And would you then walk?
500 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to walk so much, and then we would go, and I remember listening to the used with her and feeling like that was good.
This is correct.
Like I really enjoyed that, and then realizing like I knew all the songs.
Yeah.
Like it was important to me.
Went to an emo night at a bar recently and was kind of blown away by just
mad.
how much. Huh?
I'm mad. I don't want to go to emo night at a bar.
You can go to the next one. We can show them this cocktail, make them put them on their list. I think this cocktail fits an emo night at a bar, but it doesn't fit an emo, like if you were at a pop punk show.
At a pop punk show.
At a punk pop show.
At a punk pop show.
At a punk show.
Oh damn. I feel like everybody does that. You ready?
This has been such a fun episode. Like we really vibed on this.
I love this. Yeah, this has been so good.
That was a fun one, and we got a handful of new cocktails that we've been exploring lately.
There's a bunch of stuff coming up.
So
I'm excited.
To those of y'all listening, stay tuned. Well, not stay tuned. Listen to more episodes because we got a whole lot of new cocktails that are on the horizon. Because I've been inundated with my Instagram algorithm finally figured out that I like interesting cocktails.
Mine too, suddenly.
And so I've just been getting a boatload of creative and fun, new, interesting cocktails. And I think we got like maybe one that's got some absinthe in it in the future. Maybe ones that use some sort of unique Amaros.
Ooh.
I even found this really fun, interesting liqueur made from walnuts that's locally sourced from where I'm from in California that I'm trying to get my hands on.
I would love those nuts.
It does rely heavily on the nut, but it's also got some good aromatics.
All I want.
Thank you for joining us, listening to Was That in Good Taste? We hope you enjoyed hearing our thoughts and feelings on the punk pop atmosphere and environment.
And as always, I'm James.
And I'm Chandler.
And drinking is not required.
But it is recommenditoed.
Ooh, peace. That was good.